Hello, you guys. So, might turn into a rant. Who knows? I'm actually feeling kind of calm right now. Took a shower, and that always seems to placate me to some degree. But I just had. Okay, how should I start this? So, for anybody who's been on my channel and for at least, let's say, since last year when all of this craziness started, you know that I generally hold the unpopular opinion. I'm thinking people who are still watching my channel probably also are the type who hold an unpopular opinion with everything to do with the pandemic. So last year when all this started, I right away, like in the last video I did, I even linked my other videos as proof to show to you guys, like literally in March of last year already, I was like, this is all BS. Okay. And now, of course, because it's YouTube and because people are completely lost the ability to think rationally and critically whatsoever, and of course, not listen. Disclaimer, I do think that the virus exists. I don't think it's like a made up virus. I do believe that there's people who have gotten sick and of course died from it, even though statistics shows that it is predominantly people who have an unhealthy lifestyle, who already are sick, or the elderly. So basically, the same kind of people who generally die more likely with any kind of disease. And I'm also not an anti-vaxxer, but I believe I made the choice to get vaccinated, but I also believe that people should have the choice to do it or not. I'm definitely not for mandates. But anyway, going back last year already, I very publicly was like, I am against all of these lockdowns. I am against all these measures. I just don't believe in any of this stuff. I think it is ridiculous. In the very beginning, oh, I personally, from the very beginning, was like, all of this is just complete BS. But like, I can forgive people who in the very beginning were like, okay, it's brand new. We don't really know. Let's maybe wait a couple of months and, you know, wear the masks, keep the distance, wash our hands, have antiseptic stuff all over the place, whatever. I was like, fine, for a couple of months that people played along. But I was pretty strong in my beliefs from the very beginning. And I very early on, I would say probably lost about half a dozen, I want to say acquaintances. Nobody really close to me except for one person. There was one person that I had thought would be like a lifelong friend who I lost because of my opinions on this, because he took the very opposite stance and said, this is the end of the world, we're all going to die, you know, lock yourselves up, board yourself up forever, etc., etc. And that, yeah, it just broke our friendship. And now with like the new variant being in the news and some countries already having shut down and already like flights being said that they can't go to South Africa or like the southern parts of Africa, and my one of my YouTube crush from Saudi Arabia sent me a picture that now Saudi Arabia has also already registered their first person who has the new variant. So, and you guys know that I was in Saudi Arabia last year and they were pretty hardcore. Uh, if you guys are interested, you can go back last year and see how it was. But like they went into a hardcore lockdown, and Saudi Arabia being a place that doesn't really care that much about human rights and liberties anyway, it was pretty much. We had I or everybody who was in my situation, pretty much everybody in Saudi, we had no life for 5 months. It was just um So I admit I'm already kind of in a panic because I'm already like, oh God, I can't deal with this happening again. Not so much the point of this video. More the point is I still have two people who I do that I care about a lot. That I am now finding myself butting heads with again on this topic. Both of these people I'm thinking of, one's a man, one's a woman. Uh, and one of them, the man, I actually just kind of had a big falling out with about this topic again. And it made me ask a question. I'm actually kind of talking right now over WhatsApp with a person who I'm now friends with, who I met through YouTube as well. And I asked him the question, and I was like, I'm wondering more and more if it's even possible to remain friends with people who think and feel this way about Corona. And by this way, I mean the kind of people who agree with all of the mask wearing. Probably they're walking around wearing 2 masks or 3 masks on a face shield and washing their hands every 3 seconds and lubing their whole body up with like antibacterial stuff every 10 minutes. And the reason I say this is, in the person I'm on WhatsApp talking to right now, he's like, you shouldn't allow differences in opinions to destroy friendships. And I want to believe this and I want to agree with him. And I also always, one of the reasons I don't block comments, the reason I don't delete comments, the reason I always allow everybody their opinions on is because I also really, really don't want to be the kind of person who lives in a bubble. And I think that that is really dangerous because, like, once you live in a bubble, all you do is listen to people who are already like-minded, and you only listen to like the news reporters who say the things that you agree with anyway. And I think that gets really dangerous uh, very quickly, both on the right and on left, or the up or the down, or whatever you happen to identify as. So these are two things that in my head I'm really concerned with, and in such I don't like the idea of losing friendships or acquaintances, or that just in general, that we live in 2021 in a time where opposing opinions are so threatening and horrible, and people can't in any way, shape, or form come back into the middle ground about it. So I'm aware of all these things because right now I'm getting comments on it. On the other hand, what I was saying to my friend that I'm messaging with right now is there are things where I can have opposing opinions with somebody and it doesn't matter. Like, I personally, I don't drink alcohol at all. I have a very bad history with alcohol, not for me personally, but like people in my family, friendships I had when I was early on. I don't like alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I don't want to be around alcohol. But I can be friends with people who drink alcohol. I can even be friends with people who drink alcohol a lot because I just remove myself from those situations when it's happening, right? So I understand that. But like when it comes to Corona, and kind of, I was going to say, like, also like the trans issue and the non-binary issue, I personally would say that I've found, not 100%, but there seems to also be a very, very large overlap of people who believe in the 5 million genders and believe in the whole, trans women are real women, uh, ideologies, and the whole Corona thing. It seems like these are kind of the same group of people a lot of times. Not always, not always. Uh, and then, offensive thing I'm about to say. Then there's the normal, rational thinking people who still kind of understand the way the world works uh, over here, who are kind of like, all right, people, let's chill out. Corona is not that big of a deal, it turns out, and we need to all calm down a little bit. And yes, there is such a thing as sex, and there is such a thing as, trans women are not women, and these made up pronouns. It seems like these are kind of these two fields that are kind of floating around in the world right now. Not completely, but more often than not. And what the friend I was just fighting with about this, and this was a fight. This was not just a disagreement. This was a full-on fight. The part why I'm saying I'm struggling and I'm saying this is not some one of those things where I can just say, oh, well, we have a difference in opinion. And also why I also kind of feel that same way about the transgender issue and the not and this like made up pronouns thing is because, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, I think of myself as a classical liberal. I don't care what you do, as long as whatever it is, it doesn't impact my life in a negative way, hurt me, or whatever. You can do whatever you want. To the end of the day, that is how I feel about almost all social, political, everything. You can pray to any god you want, or not pray, or you can dress however you want, or whatever, and or believe in corona or don't believe in corona, believe in vaccinations and get 7,000 boosters or don't. All these things, I don't care. As long as it doesn't impact how my life ends up going and how, yeah, like impacting my life. And this is why I'm saying, this is why I feel so strongly about these two issues right now. And I don't want to go into transition right now because like then it's going to get too long. But like that's why him and I were fighting, because I was like, my questioning and my doubt that corona is and all these variants are what we are being told by the governments and the media, my doubt in this does not hurt you. And it never did. If you, from the very get-go, this is the part that I've said so many times. I've said it in real life. I've said it in debates. I've said it on YouTube. I've said it over Facebook. I've said it in every situation I can. And this is the thing that just doesn't seem to go into the heads of the people who believe in all of this. Fine. Then stay home. Stay home. Wear 7 masks every time you go outside and a full body condom. You know, work from home, live from home, get the little cyber glasses and live in a virtual world, never leave your house again, you know, take 7,000 boosters every chance you get, you know, isolate yourself from everybody who's around you and, you know, like I said, wear a full body condom. What is stopping you? Nothing is stopping you. This is where I think there is this big divide for me in this argument. If you are fearful of this disease for yourself or for a family member or for a friend, nobody is stopping you from taking all the precautions that we are told we should be doing. Like I said, masks, washing your hands nonstop, eating antibacterial soap, you know, sleeping in a condom bed, you know, never open your windows because God knows some corona air might blow into your window. You know, do it. But on the opposite, that's not what's happening. The people who believe and agree with these rules, their fear and their willingness to go along with these things is impacting people like myself who are saying, I'm willing to take the risk. I am willing to take the risk. If I end up dying from it, so be it. I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to stay in my home. I don't want to be washing my hands every 20 seconds and, you know, like squirting myself down with antibacterial gel. I don't want to do that. I don't think anything that I have seen or heard about this disease justifies or requires me to do these things. So allow me to live my life the way that I want to live it. Allow me the freedom. And to me, this is the basis of human liberty, and this is the basis of a democracy. Now, I already know people are going to be like, yeah, but if you get sick, the hospitals are going to get overrun. This, again, I think comes down to either you believe what the media is telling you or you don't. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I full stop don't believe that all of these hospitals have been overrun. I don't believe it. Uh, they have shown so many news reports of like extra hospital beds being like provided and new hospitals being built from the ground up, and then they sit empty. Like I and honestly, this is one of those things that people are saying, and I think it's a little bit hypocritical, especially in a lot of these socialist countries, where they're like, if you don't get vaccinated and you get sick, then you forfeit your right for a hospital bed and you forfeit your right for medical attention. I'm kind of like, me personally, give me a piece of paper that says, okay, you can have all of your freedoms back, you can travel, you don't have to wear a mask, you can do whatever you want, but if you get sick of COVID, you have no right of a hospital bed, I will gladly sign that piece of paper to have my life back. Very gladly. Like, not a problem with me at all. Let me die on the street or in my bed because, I signed the piece of paper saying I'm not going to get it. And I have a feeling a lot of people in the world are at that point where they would also sign that paper. Um, there's this really famous saying, I'm going to butcher it because I don't know it verbatim, but and I also probably am going to say the wrong person, but I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said it. And he said, anyone who is willing to give up some of their liberty for some protection or safety, that person deserves neither liberty nor protection. And I absolutely agree with that. I mean, giving up our human liberties, I that more than anything, I think is something that I just absolutely just shocked me and shocks me to this day, and is shocking me again now that it looks like this is going to start repeating again, is just how little people care about their human liberties. And this, I've said so many times, I'm like, I always was so like somebody who didn't want to believe in conspiracy theories and was like, conspiracy theory believers are crazy and stupid and whatever. But I absolutely believe, I 100% believe that if we lived just 10, 15 years ago, where the option of working from home and ordering food to your house and doing everything virtual hadn't existed, we 100%, nobody's going to get me to change my mind on this, we 100% would not have reacted to this virus as we did. No way. No way. And that does honestly make me a little suspicious that I'm like, isn't it a little weird that we are in this situation when it has technically become possible for all of us to just live virtually and in our homes and just communicate over the internet? So, and more so, the government's taking advantage. And now I'm just going to turn into kind of like a rambling rant thing. Anyway, my point is just more, I'm wondering if it's possible for me to stay friends with people who think this way. And the person I'm talking with, this is not the person I had the fight with, another person. He was saying like, if somebody respects me and they have a difference of opinion and, it doesn't affect me, then I can be friends with them. And I was like, two things. First, I was like, yeah, okay. I've actually had this talk with several people about other things, because they're like, as long as the person is nice to me and respects me and whatever their bad habits or things are, they don't affect me, I can be friends with them. And I was like, and then I always use the same scenario. I was like, okay, well, let's say you have a coworker and you and him, you get along really well. You've hung out a few times. You have a great working relationship. You think he's a cool guy. He's always been really nice and respectful to you. And then you find out he's a pedophile. Can you still be friends with somebody like that? If you can still be friends with him because you're like, well, it doesn't affect me, I'm not a kid, I would have to question you as a person and your morals. Like, I'm sorry, I can't be friends with somebody like that. No, oh my gosh, I should not use this example. I know people are gonna freak out now. They're like, are you saying you're comparing people who believe in Corona with pedophiles? No, of course not. People, use your brain. Of course I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, there are instances where just because somebody is nice to you and respectful to you, you still have to question, can I be friends with this person if you question their morality or their ethics or the way that they go through world. And this is one of the things that I wonder. I'm wondering if I can actually respect someone who doesn't care about their human liberties and their human rights. If they value more this idea of safety, even though by now, after almost 2 years of this, we know that these lockdowns don't work, that the masks are still being questioned if they work, that all these sanctions are actually not working at all. Now we're even finding out that people who've gotten the vaccine are still getting sick, and there's a bunch of people who've got the vaccine who are in the hospital, and they're still getting other people sick. So even that's not really working. So I have to question people who are so willing to throw away their liberties for this the semblance of security and safety. Can I respect somebody like that? And the other thing is, it does affect me, and it does affect people who think like me, because even if they personally don't stop me from doing whatever I want, if they are going out and electing the type of officials who are putting these kind of rules like lockdowns and curfews into law, or that if they are agreeing and pushing for governments to create travel restrictions and make 7 masks at one time wearing the rule, then they are affecting my life. And this is the last thing that like him and I said, because he was kind of like, we just have to agree that we don't have the same opinion. And I was like, I understand that. And for me, that would be a very easy way to say, okay, fine, let's have a difference in opinion. But the thing is, like, you agree with these rules and you agree with these sanctions. And him and I have been friends now for 6 years or something like that. And I was like, you know what matters to me in my life. And you know that my dream was to travel and to explore and to be somebody who's willing to take risks. My not wanting to have lockdowns didn't affect you at all. You could stay home. You can not be around me because you're afraid that I might give you corona. You can lock yourself in your home, do all your work from your house, and wear masks when you go to bed, and sleep in sheets that are self-washing and all this kind of stuff. What my saying that I am willing to take the risks does not impact you, but your thinking that we have to lock down and stuff did change my life and did change my life trajectory and did change the life trajectory of everybody who feels like me, because we weren't able to go on living our lives the way we feel we have the right to do so. So I don't know. I'm curious from you guys. Like, for those of you guys who feel like me, have you lost friendships? Have you been able to maintain them? Have you just chosen not to have this topic? Are you guys more and more feeling that the left side? I know this now looks right for you guys, right? Spiegelverkehrt, yeah. That the left. And I'm sorry, I know people are always like, "You're a gay guy. You shouldn't harp on the left so much." And I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to harp on the side that to me seems the craziest. And right now, that is the left. Like, I really feel like we're becoming a fractured society. And there's going to be the crazies over here who are going to wear 7 masks and believe that there's 5,000 genders and they can change their pronouns every 20 minutes depending on what their feelings are, and they are going to start dating. They wear dog costumes and walk around half naked in the street. And then there's, my opinion is, the normal people over here who are kind of like, okay, let's be open-minded. Let's women should have equal rights. Gay people should have equal rights. Trans people who are saying that they are trans and not trying to pass for real men or women, protect them from getting killed, and also let's go back to living life. It's been 2 years. We've seen that corona is not as big of a deal, And then I'm wondering if that's something that I'm okay with or not. Like, I guess I guess if we really become a two-tiered society with the crazies over here living their life in socialism, communism land, and thinking that's going to work, and there's 7,000 genders, and wearing condoms, full body condoms all of the time, you know, and then have some countries that are over here, or some states in some countries, like Texas or Florida, where people are normal. Um, I guess that would work until it leads to like some kind of war where the people over here realize that all of this junk that they're thinking and believing is, getting them absolutely nowhere, and they're just going to end up in this complete hellhole. And then this part over here, we, the normal people, they actually have like a good, strong working economy, and are able to fulfill their dreams and have happy lives and live in a functioning way. It makes me sad because, like I said, these two people were people that at one point I still care about both of them, but over months and months and months of us constantly finding there's more and more things that ideologically we are just so far apart, and making conversations and anything more and more difficult to just have. Um, the guy, as much as I care about him, I would get over it. But the girl I'm thinking, the woman, sorry, the woman I'm thinking of, I would say I was borderline in love with her at one point. Like, she's one of the only people I've ever met that really I could spend just. I've always been somebody who needs a lot of me time. That's just the kind of person I am. Like, some people, they get energy from social settings, and some people get energy from having time to themselves. And I've always been more of a hermit type. Like, I need a lot of me time. And she's one of the few people that, when we were living together in Japan, I never got tired of her. I never got to the point where I was like, oh god, I rather be alone than have time with her. Like, she's one of the few people. There's probably like four people in my life like that, where I was like, I want to spend as much time with her as possible, 24/7. And so our continuous degradation in our friendship is really getting to me. I don't know. So, what do you guys think? I'm I don't know, and oh god, I really hope we don't go back into lockdowns and curfews and stuff again. I just don't understand how these people think we can. How is the economy barely survived the last time? Like, how are they thinking it's going to work again? It's just. And this ridiculous fear, God, I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's just, I don't. Maybe it's just very hard for me to sympathize and understand these people, because I just don't understand how you could be so scared of life. To be so scared of life, and that is how I interpret it. Not You're not scared of the virus. You are literally scared of life. Like, life has risks. There If you don't die of COVID, you're going to die of something else. Something's going to kill you. It's going to be cancer, or it's going to be a heart attack, or you're going to get hit by a car, or maybe those very few people who are lucky enough to just fall asleep in bed from old age. But something's going to kill you. You're not going to live forever. So you might as well make the best out of it. Like, I just don't understand this. Anyway, 30 minutes of whatever. Make of it what you want. And yeah.